Hi guys, it's Kino. Welcome to another video. Happy Eclipse Day, at least I think so. I think this is going out on Eclipse Day. In today's reading, we're going to be taking a look at your various first times with your soulmate. And yes, this does include the spicy side of things. Just before I get into it, I have a very exciting announcement. So some of you guys might know a few weeks ago, I put out an EP with Maidenfield, who has been a long-time creative collaborator, is the mastermind behind our channel intro song. And as an extension of that EP, we are releasing some KINO I remixes. So I have remixed the song Now I Don't Care. The original of this song was produced by Maidenfield, and it's sort of an 80s synth-wavy sound. I would say that my remix bears little to no semblance to the original, except for, of course, the vocal. I'm really proud of this one because this is my second song that I have mixed and mastered by myself. The first one was she was okay. This one, I think I did a much better job, and it actually took me about a year to complete this song because a year ago I produced it, I tried to mix it, it wasn't working, I got frustrated, and I just kind of left it. But I was just like, you know what? I feel like this one's gotta come from me because it just needs to sound like me. I was so determined to do this by myself, and I was like, let me put on my big girl pants, let me study a little bit, let me figure out what I'm doing rather than just taking shots in the dark, while of course still using my ears and using my intuition. And I am pretty proud of the end result, I have to say. So I totally forgot to mention, but this remix was released alongside my remix of Love with a D. I think I forgot to mention it because this remix actually came out like 5 years ago. But this Dream Sun project, it's like a compilation of all of the KINO I and Maidenfield collabs that have happened since day one. So yeah, we put them all together, and maybe you haven't heard the Love with the D remix yet, so if you want to check it out, check it out. Anyway, the link is going to be down below if you'd like to check it out, and as always, I'm so grateful to anybody who checks out my music. That is when my soul is the happiest, so I'm sending you guys so much love. Thank you so much for being here, and now let's get on to the reading. Hi guys, it's Kino. Welcome to another video. So I'm pretty excited for today's pick a card reading because we have actually done this one before over on Patreon and it was a lot of fun. So today we are going to be finding out all about your firsts with your soulmate. So we're going to be looking at a few different things. We are going to see your first meeting, your first date, your first kiss, and your first time saying I love you to each other. But if you do enjoy this kind of reading and you can think of other firsts that you would like to know about, I'm totally open to doing this again if you guys like it. So let me know if there's other things you would like to hear in future readings. So this reading could be about a soulmate who has yet to enter your life. And so when you're listening to this reading, you can get a sense of what your relationship will be like and how it will unfold. But it's also possible that as you are watching this reading, it sounds like experiences that you have already had with a particular person of interest. And so that could be a confirmation that they are, in fact, your soulmate. And depending on where you're at with your person, for example, maybe you've already met and you've already gone on a date, so it's confirmation that it's that person, but then you haven't had the kiss and the I love you yet. So in the second half of the reading, it's like showing what is to come and what you have to look forward to. So I think that's everything I need to explain in the intro, so let's get into your group selection. There are 3 readings to choose from today. I'm going to show you each of these crystals up close one by one, and please pick whichever one you feel drawn to the most. For my number 1s, we have Lepidolite, For my number 2s, we have clear quartz. And for my number 3s, we have Caribbean calcite. Okay, so as always, take all the time you need to pick. You can pause the video if you need to. I'm gonna go ahead and get started with number 1. Hi number 1s, so if you guys chose the Lepidolite, this is going to be your reading all about your firsts with your soulmate. So this is the full breakdown of today's reading. I mentioned most of this in the intro already, but one thing that I didn't mention is that at the start of this reading, we are going to do a little energy check. We're going to see a dynamic of this connection that Spirit wants you to know about. So if what I'm describing does sound like a dynamic that you have with a certain someone on your mind, or if it sounds like a dynamic that you feel you would have with your soulmate or that you would like to have, then that will be your sign that this is your group. And then we're gonna get right into the firsts that we talked about in the intro. So first meeting, first date, first kiss, and first I love you with your soulmate. And then there's also gonna be an extended today, which is gonna have a little bit of 18 plus themes. I'm not gonna get too detailed into it because I'm just not like that, but we are gonna look at your compatibility, physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual with your soulmate. We are gonna look a little bit into your first intimate, spicy encounter with your soulmate. What's that gonna be like? We are gonna look at significant time frames pertaining to this connection, as well as significant signs to look out for. So these could be signs from your soulmate's higher self to keep an eye out for, or signs from your guides pertaining to the soulmate connection. So that's going to be our full reading for today. Thank you so much for being here, and let's get into it. So these are our cards for the energy check. I have your cards over here, your soulmate's cards over here. And then these represent an energy between the two of you. If while I'm describing this, it sounds like the roles are flipped, so this sounds more like your soulmate and this sounds more like you, it's totally fine to switch the positions. But if neither of these sound like you and you don't see your energy anywhere in this spread, then that would be a sign that this is not your group. So without further ado, let's get started. The cards representing your energy are the 5 of Cups and Listen. Oh, that's really beautiful. Okay, let's go ahead and look at your soulmate's cards too. So they have Temperance, oh, and Disillusion. Okay, there is a very sweet dynamic going on here. I think a key word for you in your soulmate connection is healing. It's going to be a very healing relationship for you. I think a key word for your soulmate would be awakening and also mind-blowing. Just looking at this image quite literally. Eye-opening, mind-blowing, that kind of thing. We're going to get into them in a second, but there's something really beautiful going on for you here, group number 1, in this connection. There's a profound healing happening for you where you had disconnected from your heart's inner voice or disconnected from your intuition. Now, I want to be clear that I'm not saying as a whole, group number 1, that you are disconnected from your intuition. I think in many ways you are very tapped in, but it feels like in some way you hear your intuition and you might be afraid to listen to it or afraid to really believe it. And I think that this pertains to romantic love or emotional intimacy or being vulnerable in front of a romantic partner or being really, really trusting towards them. Believing, like when your heart whispers, we can trust this person. When your heart whispers, this person is the one. When your heart whispers, this person is your soulmate. It's like, I hear you, but I'm afraid to open up to you. I'm afraid to go there. And it does seem like this is likely because of a past hurt, a past experience where you did open up and someone took advantage of that, or someone wasn't who you thought they were, or you felt led astray in some way. And in this connection with your soulmate, it's like you feel safe again to really listen to what your heart is telling you and believe that your heart is telling you the truth and that your heart is leading you into something amazing. And I just thought the Temperance card was so sweet because this is the energy of your soulmate, and it means that they're going to be endlessly patient with you. Group number one, if you have any trust, I don't like the word trust issues in this case, but just difficulty trusting, difficulty opening up. If you have any sort of apprehension, if you move with caution when it comes to romantic relationships or relationships in general, if you really proceed with caution when it comes to falling in love and you're sort of holding back, this is absolutely not something that your soulmate is going to take personally ever. I'm seeing in my mind's eye ever in caps with a period. Like, I'm never going to take that personally. I understand what you've been through, and I'm not trying to rush us at all. If we get together tomorrow or if we get together in 10 years, I'm happy with that. This is your soulmate talking. It's like, I'm so sure about you and I'm so sure that you're worth the wait, and I would never want you to feel rushed or uncomfortable. And I also understand, I know how difficult it is to open up and to trust. Maybe your soulmate's even been there before. So I just see them being so patient and so nurturing towards you. And I do see you bringing a lot of balance into each other's lives. So perhaps you have your strengths fill in for their weaknesses and their strengths fill in for your weaknesses. And rather than judging each other's weaknesses, you can just openly lean on each other in your times of weakness. And share your strengths with each other. And it's really beautiful. I feel like there's absolutely no sense of competition and a complete sense of cooperation when it comes to this relationship. But something that's very cool too is that I feel like when you come together with your soulmate, they are in an energy where they feel like they've got it all figured out. You know, like, I've figured my life out. I've figured out who I am. I've figured out how the world works. Like, and don't get me wrong, I think they do have a lot of wisdom and a lot of insight, but I think that when they come together with you, you are introducing them to some completely new perspective, completely new way of seeing the world and seeing the universe that just kind of blows their mind. I think we are meant to take this very literally. It's like when you receive new information and you're like, my brain is glitching. I thought I had the whole world figured out, but now I need to reframe some things, because that new perspective that you just shared with me, it really brings back into question a lot of the things that I thought I knew. So you are opening their eyes. You are opening a lot of doors for them. And one thing I love about your soulmate's energy is that I do think they're really thirsty for knowledge and eager to learn with this Temperance card, because this is related to Jupiter and Sagittarius energy. I don't know if they have those placements, but I do sense that kind of archetype within them, kind of like a student for life sort of energy. And so they're kind of getting humbled by you, it feels like, in the sense of, wow, I can't believe I pride myself on being a student of life, but somehow I started to assume that I had figured it all out. Thank you for reminding me that there's still so much that I don't know, and there's still this vast universe to explore. So what I love about them is that they're not afraid to change their mind. They're not afraid to admit that they were wrong or to modify their beliefs or their worldview once they get new information. You know, sometimes people get really stuck in their biases that even when new information comes in, they don't even accept it because it's too uncomfortable to change the worldview that they've had for so long. So they just like disregard it. But I don't think your soulmate's like that. I think they're very open-minded and always willing to integrate new information. You could be from different backgrounds, whether that's a cultural background, an educational background, or just have a very different upbringing, because I do think that you learn a lot from each other and how different your journeys have been. You could also travel with them a lot and go on a lot of adventures with them. You could discuss, yes, I can see you discussing at length, like books that you've read, documentaries that you've watched, and probably blowing each other's mind with all the facts that you've learned. Okay, so let's look at these cards in the middle. Oh, so we have the fourth chakra. I'm not surprised to see this at all. This is the heart chakra. The energy of the heart chakra supports our inner guidance system, which is governed by our heart and the capacity to love deeply. Exactly. This relationship is very much one that connects you to your own heart space, to your heart chakra. I also think that your heart chakras are connected. Like there's a channel between the two of them and they feed each other and nurture each other. And everything you do is rooted in love, which maybe that sounds like a given, but it's not. It's actually very rare and special because there's a lot of fake love out there, or not fake love, but distorted love. And I just feel like the love that exists between you is completely pure and not distorted at all. It's rooted in the purest of love. And then we have home and 1111 as I'm showing you this card. Oh my gosh. Come back home to yourself. Belonging, celebration, and stability. The number 4 could be significant just because in astrology, the home pertains to the 4th house and the heart chakra is the 4th chakra. So something about the number 4. Number 5 as well, actually, because you're a 5 and they're a 14, which 14 reduces to 5. Yeah, 4 and 5 coming through. Also, this isn't one of the firsts we're going to talk about, but I think that you could move in together quite quickly in your relationship because your lifestyle flows and your domestic style, I think, just goes together really well. So it's kind of a no-brainer that you would do well together under the same roof. You keep each other in a good routine, and I think you just feel very, very cozy together. That's the vibe that I'm getting. And I love this message of come back home to yourself because that's exactly what you're helping each other do. A rabbit could be significant. And oh my gosh, that reminds me, I wanted to tell you guys, before I started filming your group, a little chickadee came up and just sat on my windowsill and it was so adorable. So a chickadee or rabbit seem like they could be significant animals. The colors red and green. The letters L and D could be significant as well. And now actually I'm thinking of LDR, which is long distance relationship. That could just be a confirmation for a few of you. I don't really get the sense that that's like a major theme of this connection, but like I said, that could be a confirmation for some of you. So let's get into your firsts, shall we? So I'm going to use 2 different decks for this because that's going to allow for the possibility of repeating cards to come out. And I just felt called to do that. So let's get into it. Okay, my group number 1s with their soulmate, starting with your first meeting. We have the Death card. Yeah, I'm gonna keep this here, but yeah, that's fine. Okay, your first date. We have the 3 of Wands. Your first kiss, we have the Tower. Okay, and your first I love you. We have the Two of Cups. Oh my gosh. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is just pull one more card for each of these from a different tarot deck. Okay, so let's get another one for your first date. We have Justice. Another one, oh sorry, this was your first meeting. What do I do now? Because I was pulling it. Maybe your first meeting is your first date. Because I totally said first date and had that in my head when I pulled the card. But I was supposed to be pulling for your first meeting. I'm gonna like keep it in the middle here. Like that. Okay, let's get another one for your first meeting. We have the Emperor. For your first date, we have the Queen of Cups. For your first kiss, we have the Empress. And for your first I love you, we have the Seven of Pentacles. Okay, yeah, the fact that I had that mix up of your energies between the first meeting and the first date, I would say that it's either quite likely that your first meeting is your first date. So, you know, an example of this would be like maybe you met online first, whether that's through a dating app or some kind of online community, and then you agree to meet in person for a date, or like someone introduces you and is like, hey, I think you should meet up with this person. Like that's happened to me sometimes where people will be like, hey, my friend is visiting Japan, you should meet them. And I'm like, okay, sure. And then like we get along. So it could be something like that. If it's not that, I think that you set up your first date like after your first meeting, which means that you meet for the first time and you hit it off so well that you already know that you want to go on a date with each other. So getting into the stage of the relationship where you are going on dates together, I think is going to happen very early on. I think that you both recognize immediately, like emotionally, yes, you feel a very strong emotional pull to each other, but also just logically, when you meet each other, you're like, this makes sense because we get along very well. The conversation flows great. Like maybe you even recognize like we're attracted to each other. We have this and this and this in common. Like, yes, my heart is in it, but also just logically, this makes a lot of sense that we would be good together. So I think we should see where this goes, and I think we should develop things further. I feel such a sense of harmony and mutual admiration and mutual respect for each other right from the start of the relationship. I'm also hearing words like maturity and grown-up relationship. Maybe that's just for a few of you, but I'm hearing something like, this is my first grown-up relationship, or maybe it's your first time meeting someone where you really feel like they have their shit together and they're like a grown person and they're taking good care of themselves and they're gonna take good care of you, that you feel really secure with them. Yes, someone is graduating from the role of being a fixer in the relationship, like being in relationships with people and you are building them up through the relationship. Now you're meeting someone and it's like they've already built themselves up perfect. Like, I don't have to do this work for them. And yeah, you know what I mean by that. I'm not saying you're not gonna put in work to the relationship, but you know what I mean. If you've been in that role, It's like you've already built yourself up. You're already taking care of yourself. We're just adding value to each other's lives now. Definitely you're meeting each other at a time in your life where you're both feeling empowered. You're both feeling like my life is mine. I'm living the life I really want to live. And yeah, like I said, there's not really a feeling of needing each other to fill a void. It feels very much like my life is already awesome and meeting you is just icing on the cake. Like, it's amazing. With the death card here, there's a couple of ways that I can interpret this. I do think that one or both of you could sense a feeling of destiny from your first meeting, because we have three major arcana in a row pertaining to your first meeting. So one or both of you is definitely feeling the destiny there. I was going to talk about past lives, and then I saw 2020 on the camera timer, which is the number of the judgment card. Judgment and death give me past life vibes. So you could definitely be feeling that kind of connection with them, feeling that your meeting is destined. I also think that the death card could be indicative that you're meeting after a significant ending in your life. Something that you've gracefully stepped away from after many years. It feels like the end of an era, but it feels like one that you're glad it's happening. It's like, I'm ready to start this new era now. I'm ready for something new. And even in some way, spirit sending you into each other's lives could be a sign. I'm just thinking like, spirit, show me a sign that I'm ready to start a new era. And then you meet this person. It's like, okay, spirit, I heard you. The fact that I met you is proof that I'm entering a new chapter. It's proof that I'm ready for a new adventure. That encounter is such a strong sign of this like exciting chapter that's going to begin. I love it. So also, there's not really a sense of you're the one to approach them or they're the one to approach you. It feels just very mutual. Just to give an example, I'm seeing a coffee shop for some reason, and maybe it's just to explain this example, but it's not like one of you walks over to the other's table and is like, hi. It's more like maybe you're standing in line next to each other and you just casually start talking. I just saw 2222. Yeah. So it's definitely a mutual thing. Or maybe you get teamed up somehow. It's like you end up beside each other and you just start talking. You end up in the same group, like you're grouped together or assigned the same thing. You just start talking. You could literally both be waiting in line for something and you just start chatting. It feels very casual, but the chemistry is instant. Okay, so moving on to your first date, we have the Three of Wands and we have the Queen of Cups. Your first date, it definitely feels like an outing rather than being at somebody's home. It feels, and you could actually very well be outside. That's the vibe that I'm getting. When I saw the Queen of Cups and the Three of Wands together, I actually thought that some of you could be going to the beach, whether that's like to actually go in the ocean or just walk along the beach. Maybe there's a boardwalk situation or we're going to a restaurant with a beach view. Beach or oceans seem to be involved somehow. This is maybe just for a small few of you, but you could even go on a boat on your first date, or there is something with a boat or a ship. Maybe you're going to see Titanic, I don't know, or something else that involves boats. These things are coming to my mind. You could be doing something outdoorsy, like a walking, hiking. There's that kind of vibe. It feels for some of you that you're doing something a bit adventurous, so like a physical activity or trying something that you've never tried before. And that, you know, that could be so many different things, right? It could even be trying a cuisine that you've never tried before. But with the Three of Wands, there is often a little feeling for me of going out of your comfort zone and doing something kind of fun, exciting, spontaneous. So yeah, I'm thinking of things that are outdoorsy, that are adventurous. There's that kind of vibe going on, but because you're together, I think you feel very, very safe. And there's something about how considerate and how nurturing your soulmate is being during this date that just really makes you fall for them. This is just one example, but let's say you went skating for your first date, then your soulmate's like, you know, holding you up when you are wobbling. In this example, I'm assuming you're, I guess, not very good at skating. If you're a professional skater, then you're gonna be like, psh, I don't need you to hold me up, but just pretend for this example. They're like, you know, holding you up to make sure you don't fall, or giving you their jacket to make sure you don't get cold, and like holding your hand to make sure that you stay together. Like just doing those little things to make sure that you are comfortable and that they're always thinking about your comfort rather than getting in their head about like, what impression am I giving off? How am I doing on this date? Which it's fine, we all have those thoughts, but I just feel like they're so focused on you, and it's just very sweet. And even from the first date, you're probably already thinking this person would be such a good life partner. And I think you're both kind of there when you're meeting each other, when you're going on these dates. Like that's what you're looking for. I think both of you are equally looking for something serious and looking for your life partner. You'll probably be able to talk about those things early on as well without it being like uncomfortable, because it's like it's out in the open that that's what we're both looking for, and you seem to fit what I'm looking for really, really well. It feels very, very harmonious. There could be something about drinks as well with this cup. So maybe you go for drinks, you go for cocktails, you go for cold pressed juice. I don't know. Tea, you go to a tea house, coffee, something like that. Then we have your first kiss, and we have the Tower. So it could be unexpected. You know, just you get carried away in the emotion, like spur of the moment kind of vibes. I think, you see there's a little lightning bolt here. It's making me think that it's an electrifying experience. And these are two major arcana as well, so it's gonna be pretty unforgettable. When I'm looking in my mind's eye, I feel like you're gonna be in a very beautiful place when this happens. So maybe there's a sunset, or there's fireworks, or you're in a very like elegant building. I don't know. Feels like the physical environment that you're in is just very beautiful and romantic, and probably you're just getting carried away in the vibes of it all and how beautiful you look and things like that. And the Tower definitely gives a feeling of, oh shit, there is no turning back now. Like, I'm not gonna be able to forget about this person. I'm so sure about this person. There's a feeling of like, oh crap, this is real now. Maybe before you were thinking like, wow, I really, really like them, but if things don't work out, that's okay. But then once you have that first kiss, you're like, I don't think I'm gonna be okay if things don't work out. It feels like suddenly you got hit with the realization of how important this person has become to you. And so you're going from like I really like you, but whatever happens, happens, it's okay, to like, please don't leave me. Yeah, like suddenly getting hit like that. And honestly, when I looked at the Empress, the first thing that came to my mind was this image of the Empress being pregnant. So you could literally have this feeling of, I want to be your life partner, I want to have your babies, or I want you to have my babies, or I want to have babies with you. Like, it's gonna really hit you in that moment. And actually, now that I think about it, the Empress is also likely an indication of being in a very beautiful physical environment when this happens, because this is Venusian energy. It's like, it's elegance, it's aesthetic, it's romantic. Like, there's really something very romantic about it, almost like this scene of you having your first kiss could be in a movie. I'm thinking of, you know, those romantic movies where the couple is watching fireworks, and then you know, it's like a straight couple, and the woman's like, oh my gosh, it's so beautiful, and the man is like, just like you. And then they start kissing. Like, it's gonna be something like that. It's gonna feel like out of a movie, and they're gonna make you feel like the only person in the world, the most beautiful person in the world. And I'm thinking of Rihanna, want you to make me feel like I'm the only girl in the world. Regardless of your gender, that's how they're gonna make you feel. Like, we're the only two people on earth right now. You make me feel like the most beautiful, most special person. It's just, it's so, so romantic. But it's like they weren't planning. I think they planned whatever date you're on, but they didn't plan to kiss you. It just, like, they couldn't help it. You were looking so amazing. And the vibes were right, you know? And now I'm thinking of, kiss me under the million twilight, leave me out on the moonlit floor. That one, I don't even know who that is originally by, but I know that Lisa did a little rendition recently. But that's a great song. I'm gonna make a note of both of those. Only girl, kiss me. Oh, that's bad handwriting. I hope I can read that later. I was just trying to be fast. Anyway, next we are gonna get into the first I love you, and the fact that we saw this Two of Cups, like the fact that we have this Two of Cups, that is the indication of mutual energy, of reciprocity. You are both going to be ready to say it. Whoever says it first, the other is effortlessly returning it, because that's genuinely how you feel. I think you got that inkling even from your first meeting. Sorry, I'm having weird, like, not burp, but like when your throat is making those weird gurgling noises. I don't know if that's part of your reading or what. Maybe those words, I love you, are like in someone's throat and they've been ready to say it. Because I feel like you both had an inkling that this was love from the first time you met, but it also seems like you both really have that logical and practical side. So you're like, yeah, I'm feeling the love, but also like we just met, so let's give it a few dates, but I'm ready to say it. I'm ready to say it. I've been feeling this way. Maybe this is just for a few of you, but you may even say it at the same time, or you were both thinking, I want to tell them this today, because it feels very, very mutual. I don't even really feel that either of you is nervous to say it. This is Cancer energy, which feels very Cancer and Venus energy. So it just feels very comfortable, very safe. Like, I know you're thinking it too. I already know that you're gonna say it back. Like, there's no nerves like that of, oh my gosh, how are they gonna take it? I just saw 3333. The number of the Empress, the number of communication, like definitely it's just gonna go so smoothly. So I do think that you're kind of waiting to say it with the Seven of Pentacles, because you're just waiting to grow and nurture the relationship a little more. You know, if I really was impulsive and got carried away with my emotions, I probably would have said it the day I met you, because I was already feeling it, but I just wanted to give the relationship some time in our physical reality to match what was in my heart. That it feels right. It feels like the practical way to do it. And so that you know I'm serious about you. If I say it right off the bat, it might seem like I'm just an impulsive person. And I wanted it to be special. I'm speaking in the first person, but I don't know if like that's your soulmate or you or both of you, but yeah. And I also think that after you say it the first time, it's going to be a consistent thing with this. You know, maybe the 7 of Pentacles is like 7 days a week. Like you'll say it to each other every day from that moment on, because like it feels so good to say it and keep growing the relationship from there. I love that in this deck, the person is watering the plant rather than just standing there and waiting for it to bear fruit. It feels so much more loving and nurturing. Long-term investment, sustained patience, perseverance, hard work, success and waiting, harvest, results, profits, and planning. I feel like this is really the moment. Once you say those words to each other, it's like, okay, we're locked in. We're gonna start building our life together. We're gonna start investing in each other. Maybe it's shortly after this you decide to have a home together. This really feels like when your relationship becomes grounded and very real in the 3D reality and you're committed to each other. Wow. What a beautiful energy. It's just so, I probably said this word so much, but it's like, it's harmony. It's so harmonious. So group number 1, now we're going to go into the extended where we look at your physical compatibility, mental, emotional, and spiritual compatibility. We are going to take a little look into your first intimate, spicy encounter, and we are going to see significant time frames pertaining to this connection and signs to look out for from your soulmate's higher self, or signs to look out for pertaining to your soulmate connection. So if that sounds good to you and you would like to join me in the extended, I'm gonna have that link down below in the description as well as in the pinned comment of this video. However, if you're gonna leave the reading here, I wanna say thank you so much for letting me do this reading for you. I hope you have a wonderful day or night whenever you're watching, and I wish you all the best. Please take good care of yourself, stay healthy. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you feel like doing that. If you enjoy my content and you'd like to find me elsewhere, I'm gonna have a link down below. My tarot reading Instagram, my personal Instagram, my Patreon, where we now have over 100 exclusive timeless readings, just like the ones here on my channel. And we also have 2 new ones every month, and you get to choose the topic for those. So I'm gonna have that link down below. It's a great time over there. And my music channel, which includes the intro song of this video, that is an original song. I will also have my latest release linked down below. Thank you guys so much for supporting me, my channel, and anything I do. I really appreciate having you here, and I'm sending so much love to you, to your higher self, your soulmate, their higher self, and to your spirit guides, your spiritual team, and all of your loved ones, both here on earth and in the other realms. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye! Hi number 2s, so if you guys chose the clear quartz, this is going to be your reading all about your firsts with your soulmate. I'm just gonna put her over here. I have it resting on a ring so it doesn't roll all over the place. So let's take a look at the full breakdown of the reading. I did mention most of this in the intro already, but one thing that I didn't mention is that at the start of this reading, there's going to be a message from spirit. We're going to see a dynamic of this connection that spirit wants you to know about. And this can be sort of like an energy check if what I'm describing, for example, sounds like the dynamic that you have with a certain someone on your mind, or if it sounds like a dynamic that you would have in your soulmate relationship or that you would like to have, then that will be your sign that you have found your group. And then we're just gonna get right into the firsts. So like I mentioned in the intro, we're gonna see your first meeting with your soulmate, then your first date, your first kiss, and your first time saying, I love you. And then we also have an extended reading today, which is gonna be like a little bit 18 plus. It's not gonna be super graphic because that's not my vibe either, but We are going to see your compatibility with your soulmate. So physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. We're going to look at all 4 of those separately. And then we are going to look as well at your first intimate, spicy encounter with your soulmate. Then we are going to see any significant time frames pertaining to your connection and signs to look out for. So these could be signs that your soulmate's higher self sends you, or signs that your guides send you pertaining to your soulmate connection. So that's the reading that we're gonna have today. Thank you so much for being here, and let's get into it. So these cards are laid out here for our message from Spirit / energy check. I have your cards over here and your soulmate's cards over here. If, as I'm describing your energies, you feel like the energies are switched, so this is actually your soulmate and this is actually you, it's totally fine to switch them. You may even find that you sound like both of these energies, and that's fine as well. However, if you don't see your energy anywhere in this spread, then that is likely a sign that this is not your group. But without further ado, let's get into it. So the cards representing your energy are the 4 of Swords and Heal. And the cards representing your soulmate's energy are the 4 of Cups and Humility. Okay, the first thing coming to my mind is that this is such a chill relationship. You make such a chill couple with your soulmate. It could very well be that you just both happen to be very relaxed and laid back people, but even if you would consider yourself a more highly strung person, I do think that just being together, you really calm each other down, and the time you spend together, it feels slow. It feels mindful, and it feels purposeful. I would say the time you spend together is incredibly rejuvenating, and it feeds your soul. You could spend hours, days on end together, and you will not get sick of each other, and your social battery will not run out at all. It just feels very relaxing. There could be some differences between you. I'm just noticing that this person is inside and this person is outside. So one of you could be more of the indoorsy type and one of you could be more of the outdoorsy type. I also feel like there's one of you who does appreciate socializing and social events a bit more. They like to go to gatherings, they like to go to parties, they like meeting new people, they like making small talk, they like all that stuff, whereas one of you may be more of a homebody. So I do think there's some basic differences between you in that sense, but your temperament just seems very similar. Like you're both just very laid back and chill people. I just heard no one has a problem with either of you, because you're just minding your own business. You just stay in your own lane, you just mind your own business. And I feel like this relationship is going to be so drama-free. And this also comes from trusting each other. I think there's a really, really deep trust that you would never intentionally hurt each other, that you would never intentionally, push each other's buttons or make fun of each other. And so why would you ever assume that? Even if your feelings accidentally get hurt, I feel like there's always this, I know you didn't mean it, or like, I'm gonna assume that you had good intentions, because of course you did, and I trust you. And so even if there are conflicts or even if there are hurt feelings, I just feel like it's very, very rare that it escalates. It just feels like the mood is so relaxed and it's genuinely peaceful. There's so much harmony between the two of you, and you're both coming through as a number 4, which I maybe didn't mention. Yeah, you're both coming through as a number 4. One of you could be a life path 4, or maybe someone's born in April, or there's a 4-year age gap, but 4 is a very stable number. So you really make each other feel so secure in this relationship. I'm hearing you would have no reason to doubt them ever. And they would have no reason to doubt you. And it's a, what is it called? It takes two, you know? It takes two to build this trust. So you could say like, yes, I'm so trusting of my partner because I've done a lot of healing and I've done a lot of maturing, but it's also that they don't give you a reason to be suspicious. They don't give you a reason to distrust them because they're always honest with you and they're always following through with their words. So, you know, yes, it is a you thing in the sense that you're showing growth, but also they're just coming through correctly towards you. So like, of course you're going to trust them. I hope that made sense. It just looks really peaceful. You could enjoy practicing mindfulness exercises together, spiritual practices together. For example, maybe you take some time out of the day to write in your gratitude journals together, or maybe you do meditations together, or you talk about your goals and your manifestations together. I do get the sense that you are both spiritual people, or you're both open to spirituality, and I do see your spiritual practices overlapping. Like you do have, of course, your individual personal practices, but you also merge them together. And I feel like there's a lot of activities that you'll actually end up doing together. Maybe you'll even pull cards together and do readings together. I feel like there's something about your spiritual practice that you introduce to them, and they're just in awe of it. Because there's two people here. And I feel like this is you inviting them in and being like, hey, do you want to do this ritual with me? Do you want to do this practice with me? And this humility is them staring like, wow, this is amazing. I'm going to start doing this too. This feels so good. I feel like they're going to be so interested to know about your spiritual journey and your spiritual practices. And you might really open them up. I want to say even more to that world, because I think they're already opened up to it, and you're just going to open them up even more. One thing that your soulmate is working on is to not shut down when they're upset. It seems like a habit that they've built, and they're aware of it and they're working on it. And I think you could be a great help in that, because you help them to really believe that their upset feelings are not a burden, and that you will understand them, and that you're not gonna shut down their concerns. This is a learned habit that they have. They used to open up when they were upset, and maybe continuously got knocked down. So they're like, whatever, I'm just not gonna talk about my feelings anymore. And I think you're helping them heal from that. That's a specific message that just came through. And they will help you with some form of self-sabotage that has to do with procrastination, or starting things and not finishing them, a lack of motivation that you might feel. There's a self-sabotage when it comes to like the projects you want to work on, or the goal, like your professional or creative goals. That's how it's coming through. They're going to help you work through that. The letter H. Wow, so you both have the number 4 and you both have the letter H. You're matching. H could be a significant letter as well, like someone's initial or a place. Why am I thinking of Hawaii? I don't know, but could be like the name of a city or a country or something like that. Okay, so let's look at your cards in the middle to represent the energy between the two of you. Soul. Yeah, this is definitely I mean, of course it's a spiritual connection because it's your soulmate, but I mean, being openly spiritual with each other, making each other a part of your spiritual practice. I do think that's a big theme of your relationship. 1111, as I'm saying this. So the energy of soul activates our connection to the part of us that is closer to the higher realms, God, or the divine. I could literally just replace this part with your connection and read it. Your connection with your soulmate activates your connection to the part of you that is closer to the higher realms, God, or the divine. Absolutely. And we have moonlit baths. Take it easy. Yeah, we've been talking so much about how calming and how chill this relationship is. It's so beautiful. And oh, it's just so nice because whatever stressful crap could be going on in your life, you can always count on this relationship to be a safe and healing place for you. Relaxation, rest, and pause. One or both of you could be night owls. Something about the moon could be significant. Moon jewelry, moon tattoo, some kind of artwork in the house that has the moon on it. A song with the word moon in the title. This is quite literal, but spiritual baths could be a practice that you share. Like you put them onto it or they put you onto it. You could even take baths together. That could be like an activity that you enjoy, whether that's in a bathtub, in the ocean, in a hot spring, something like that. That could be super healing for you as well. In a waterfall. Oh my gosh, I just had the experience of climbing up a waterfall and like swimming in the pools of water recently. It was so magical. Yeah, something about water could be bonding for you, or you could both really have a love for water, for the sea. Yeah, there's something like that. Okay, so let's get into the firsts. I'm gonna use 2 different tarot decks for this part. I felt called to do that today, and it will allow for repetitions in the cards. So let's start my group number 2s. We are going to start with messages for your first meeting. And we have the High Priestess. For your first date, we have the Page of Pentacles. For your first kiss, we have the Two of Wands. And for your first time saying I love you. Wow, this is the exact same card that group number 1 got for this exact thing from this deck, and it's the Two of Cups. That's beautiful. I wonder if anyone here was also drawn to group number 1, because that, if you were already feeling drawn to it, that could definitely be a sign. The exact same card coming out in the exact same position. What is that? That just like flew when I shuffled the deck. Oh, I think it's... I did a reading with cookies recently, and one of them had crumbled nuts on it. I think that was a little piece of nut. Okay. It just got blown in the air when I was shuffling. So I'm gonna pull one more card for each of these from a different deck. So we're gonna get one more for your first meeting. And we have the Hermit. Interesting. What's going on here? Your first date, the Five of Wands. Okay, your first kiss, which fell on the floor, and it's the Four of Cups. So we have a repetition, and your first I love you. We have the Star. Oh. group number 1 got the star in their reading too. Maybe it was in the extended, but okay, let's get into it. There's an interesting dynamic going on with you and your soulmate. I definitely think the first time you meet each other, it's not in a romantic context. You're not meeting each other as potential love interests. And I thought of the trope enemies to lovers, but it's not that you're enemies. I think it's that at first you mildly annoy each other. And then when you get together, it's going to be something that you laugh about, because the more you get to know each other, you're going to realize how much you vibe together, how similar you actually are, how chill and laid back the other actually is. And I think you're gonna look back at the early stages of your relationship and think like, oh my gosh, it's so funny that there was a time we thought that we wouldn't get along, or there was a time that we were annoyed by each other. Like, we totally didn't know each other at that point. And now that we have gotten to know each other, we see how compatible we are. I think that either your first meeting or your early interactions are gonna be in a kind of high pressure or stressful environment. And you might mistakenly think that you're stressing each other out, but it's actually the circumstances. An easy example of this would be, let's say you're coworkers and you're working on a project together and there's a really tight deadline. Both of you are on edge already. So you're more irritable than usual and you're really stressed about doing a good job. So you're just like, this 5 of Wands gives me a feeling of just being kind of riled up, and you start thinking of like, oh, group number 2 is getting on my nerves. And it's like, no, it's not actually that. It's the situation that you're in is just causing friction. And once you get a chance to hang out outside of that situation, it's so much more chill. I feel like you kind of need 2 first impressions for this person, or you will have 2 first impressions, because you don't really get a chance to meet each other properly at first. You don't really get a chance to see the real self underneath. Once you're in a more chilled environment, it's like, I don't know, in the coworker example, you finish the stressful project and then you like go out to a bar after. Now it's a totally different vibe that you're getting from each other. You're getting more of who you really are when you're relaxed. And it's like, wait, you're kind of cool. Wait, you're really nice. I feel like I'm getting to know you now and I like what I see. Like, that's kind of the vibe that I'm getting. For some of you, it could also be that you intimidate each other at first. It's like a deep admiration that brings a bit of a feeling of intimidation. So then you kind of feel nervous around each other. But even that, it's not that they are making you nervous. It's like your own projections are making you nervous, or your own insecurities are making you nervous, or the environment, whatever environment you're in, it's just causing a weird dynamic. And it's like, we need to have a do-over. We need to meet again in just like totally chill, no pressure environment, and then we're really, really gonna get along. I hope that this is making sense. For your first meeting, we have the High Priestess and the Hermit, 2 major arcana. So you're definitely gonna feel strong feelings when you first meet each other. I'm thinking of, and I haven't even seen this movie or this musical, I don't even really know the song, but I know there's a song in Wicked that's called like, What Is This Feeling? I'm just gonna write that down. It feels like there's kind of a tension between the 2 of you. I don't know, maybe there's sexual tension, that would make sense. And you're like, man, I feel so strongly about this person. Like, what is this feeling? And then, you know, it grows into a curiosity, and then it grows into a fondness, and then it grows into love. And there's definitely that feeling, you know, with the high priestess and the hermit here. There's that deep intuitive knowing, like, there's something special about this person. This person is going to be really significant in my life. I think you always have that feeling. You just might not realize that it's like, oh, I'm gonna marry you. Or like, oh, you're gonna be my partner. I also kind of got the sense with these two cards that the first time you meet, you might not actually talk that much to each other, or you might not talk at all. It might just be eye contact at first. You don't have to be coworkers, but for some reason, it's just a very easy example for me to go with. So if you're not coworkers, just please bear with me or apply it to your situation. 2222. I just saw 2222. But it's like if the first time you met, you didn't actually talk, but you were sitting in the same office, you know, that's you on your computer. And you just kind of glance up and look at each other. Then you keep So it's like you became aware of each other. I feel like you're kind of going to be hanging around in each other's periphery, on each other's radar before you formally meet. That is definitely the feeling that I'm getting. We even had your first date, Page of Pentacles, and when I saw this, it gave me a feeling of you coming together over a shared interest, a shared project, a shared job or similar jobs. So it could really be something like going out together after work or hanging out to talk about a project that you're working on or talking about your mutual interests. That it doesn't feel super date-like for some of you, but the first time you are hanging out, the two of you, and there's something that is bringing you together. Like maybe you are both engineers, or you're both musicians, or you're both in the medical field, and you could be meeting up to, one of you is helping the other with something, or you're talking about your experiences, or you're actively working on something together, or you're making plans to work on something together. And then in this Five of Wands card, we have keywords like conflict, disagreements, tension, clash of egos. I think you're in similar fields, but you might have quite different views or different approaches. And later on in your relationship, I think you're going to realize what a blessing that is, because it keeps you from getting too stubborn. It keeps you from getting too set in your ways. And I think later on in your relationship, you're going to be extremely grateful for the perspective that the other brings. But early in your relationship, when you're like a little bit in your ego, you might have a lot of disagreements or be like, what is this person talking about? I think a big theme of your relationship, and you know, the reason this soulmate came into your life, is to teach the themes of don't judge a book by its cover, and being open to collaboration and being open to other perspectives. And it's like the very things that irritate you at the start of the relationship are going to end up being the things that you appreciate so much. And I love this energy so much because personally, me, this is not like a channeled message or anything. This is just like Carrie talking. I've heard a lot about couples who, when they first get together, they find the traits of their partner to be so endearing. I love that about them. That's so adorable. It's so endearing. Those very same traits, as the relationship progresses, start to piss them off and start to annoy them and get on their nerves. It's like the very things they once loved about that person, now they resent it. Whereas for you guys, it's the opposite. It's like, these little things about you, they used to get on my nerves, but now I'm so grateful that you bring that energy, and I can see so much how it adds value to my life and how it helps me grow. And I'm so grateful that I didn't just like, you know, walk away at the start because of a minor inconvenience. And I saw the opportunity for growth there because now we're closer than ever. It's like, oh, it's just so lovely. Maybe this is a weird analogy, but I find, and I'm sure I've talked about this before, the songs that I end up loving the most and getting obsessed with and listening to like 200 times are the ones that on my first listen, I'm like, I don't know about this song. It's kind of weird. And then I just don't. And I'm like, a few days later, I think I'm gonna listen to that song again. Wait, this is kind of hitting. And then the next thing I know, I'm like obsessed with it. And that's how I feel you guys growing closer together. You're like, ugh, they're kind of annoying. And then a few days later, you're like, I miss them. Kind of want to see them again. And then you realize as time goes by just how well you get along. Then we have your first kiss, and interestingly we have the Four of Cups, which is the card that came out for your soulmate's energy. So this tells me that they are probably going to be the one to initiate the first kiss. And I actually think that you might be giving them a lot of hints that you want them to kiss you and they're just not getting it. Because I just looked at this image. One of the meanings of the Four of Cups can be there's something that you're not seeing. Spirit's trying to offer you something and you're not taking it. So they could either not be good at taking hints or they just happen to not be reading the room. You're dropping hints left, right, and center. Like, I want you to kiss me. I want you to make a move. And they're just like not getting it until eventually they do. And that will probably, I feel like you're going to have a lot of things, like a lot of memories to look back on fondly and to laugh together. Just little things that happen before you got to know each other super deeply, before you understood each other super deeply. Because there's going to be a time in your relationship where as you grow closer, you finish each other's sentences. You know exactly what the other is thinking without speaking. And it's funny to look back and be like, wow, there was a period early in our relationship where I couldn't even take a hint from you. And now I'm like knowing what you're gonna think before you even think it. Like, how did we evolve together so well like this? It's the story of your relationship is just such a lovely story. We have the Two of Wands here. You guys, like, this just keeps coming up, how you might butt heads a little bit, but it just increases the tension between the two of you. I feel like it creates a bit of sexual tension, and I feel like there is going to be a lot leading up to this moment. And when you have your first kiss, a lot of that pent-up energy finally has an outlet. So this could be quite, let's just say, I don't think it's gonna be like a little, like, I think it's gonna be pretty passionate, and it may even escalate. Yeah. Now, isn't there a song that's like, my first kiss went something like this? Wait, I'm gonna have to look that up. It's a nostalgic one. I'm just writing these down so I don't forget. All right. And I'll make a little playlist when I'm done filming. I've been enjoying doing that recently. Yeah, it's interesting that the Two of Wands has Saturn on it in this deck because it is a card that's related to Mars. Saturn talks about restriction and restraint. So you could, when you have this first kiss, like I said, there's a lot of pent-up energy. There's been this tension building up. So I do feel like it's going to get hot and heavy but then for some reason you might have to restrain yourself. Like, whoa, let's reel it in for whatever reason, right? Like, we're in public. I don't know. That's just one example, but it's like, let's just put a pin in that and we can address this tension later. But yeah, it looks nice. So finally, we have your energy for your first I love you. We have the Two of Cups, which, like I said, this is the exact card that came out for group number 1, and it brings a strong feeling of reciprocity. So whoever is saying it is not going to feel nervous at all. Like, whoever's saying it first is not going to feel nervous at all because they already know that the other feels that way. So they're saying it comfortably, and then the other person is responding comfortably. And so it's a very sweet moment. It's not like, oh my gosh, are they gonna say it back? You know that you're gonna say it back. And the star, it's like, it feels like a dream come true. And I like the keywords on this, like hope, renewal, miracles, rejuvenation, which is a word I feel like I use to describe your connection. It's very rejuvenating. And it really does feel like a happily ever after moment. And like, who would have thought the two of us, look at us now. You've been through such a journey growing through these dynamics, and it's like, look at us now. The star, I could take this literally that you are going to be outside, that you're going to be under the stars. It does feel quite romantic. Even these Two of Cups people they have stars in them. You could be stargazing. You could be like lying somewhere looking at the stars. So you're gonna be somewhere that doesn't have a lot of, 3333 as I'm saying this, you're gonna be somewhere that doesn't have a lot of light pollution. So maybe you're out in nature, you're out in the countryside. For some reason, I was getting the sense that your first dates or your earlier dates are going to be in a city environment. When I was describing your dates, I was, in my mind's eye, seeing a lot of dimly lit, like restaurants, bars, maybe even a club if that's your thing. But these sort of public places that you might find in a big city. But then maybe as you get closer, you start to, go on little trips together. You start to go to more romantic places under the night sky, taking moonlit baths. Why can't I talk? The first times you meet up, you're in a more busy or bustling or highly strung environment. As you get closer and soften to each other, you start to meet up in more quiet and comfy and intimate places. That's definitely the feeling that I'm getting. And when you say I love you to each other, you're definitely in a quiet and comfy and intimate place where you can just feel like the only two people in the world. I'm getting a very strong smell of like a chlorine pool. You could be maybe you're on a little vacation. You could be at a really nice hotel that has a pool, or maybe even a room with a private pool. That would be super romantic. Or at a resort that has a pool. It kind of feels like a getaway of some kind. And as you get more comfortable with each other, the physical environments you're in just get more relaxed, more laid back. You're moving away from stressful environments. And I think you're going to live a really, really peaceful life together. And I love to see that. So group number 2, that's everything that I'm seeing for now. We are going to take it over to the extended, where we see different aspects of your compatibility. We're going to look at your physical relationship, mental, emotional, and spiritual. We're going to look at your first spicy encounter with your soulmate and significant time frames pertaining to this connection. And finally, signs to look out for, either from your soulmate's higher self or signs from your guides pertaining to the connection. So if that sounds good to you and you'd like to join me in the extended, I'm going to have that link down below in the description as well as in the pinned comment of this video. However, if you're going to leave the reading here, I want to say thank you so much for letting me do this reading for you. I hope you have a wonderful day or night whenever you're watching, and I wish you all the best. Please take good care of yourself, stay healthy. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you feel like doing that. If you enjoy my content and you'd like to find me elsewhere, I'm going to have linked down below my tarot reading Instagram, my personal Instagram, my Patreon, where we now have over 100 exclusive timeless readings, just like the ones here on my channel. And we have 2 new ones every month that you can choose the topic for. So I'm going to have that link down below. It's a great time over there. And finally, my music channel, which includes the intro song of this video. That is an original song. I'll also have my latest release linked down below. Thank you guys so much for supporting me, my channel, and anything I do. I really appreciate having you here, and I'm sending so much love to you, your higher self, your soulmate, their higher self, and to your spirit guides, your spiritual teams, and all of your loved ones, both here on earth and in the other realms. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye. Hi number 3s, so if you guys chose the Caribbean Calcite, this is going to be your reading all about your firsts with your soulmate. First thing that I'm noticing for this group is that, and maybe you can hear it, there is an airplane flying overhead. That could be a sign or a message for some of you. Also, I have had this song stuck in my head the whole time before filming your group. It's that song that Elton John and Dua Lipa did together, and I think it's a medley of Elton John songs, but they're singing them together. So that song could be significant to someone as well. I'll make a note to link that down below. Each group today is going to have a little playlist because there's just so many songs coming through. So here is the full breakdown of today's reading. I pretty much talked about all of this in the intro except for this first part of the reading. We are going to see a dynamic of this connection that Spirit wants you to know about, and this is going to be sort of like an energy check. So if what I'm describing, for example, sounds like the dynamic that you have with a certain person on your mind, or it sounds like a dynamic that you would have with your soulmate or that you would like to have, then that will be your sign that this is your group. And then we're going to get right into all the firsts. So like we talked about in the intro, we're going to look at your first meeting, your first date, your first kiss, and your first time saying I love you to each other. There's also going to be an extended today, and it's going to be a little bit on the 18+ side. Not too much. We're not going to get that into it, but we are going to see the physical compatibility between you and your soulmate, as well as your mental, emotional, and spiritual compatibility. We're going to see your first intimate, spicy encounter with your soulmate, what that's going to be like, and we're going to see significant time frames pertaining to your connection, and finally, signs to look out for. So these could be signs that your soulmate's higher self sends you, or signs from your spirit guides, and I just saw 222, so maybe that is one for you. Signs from your spirit guides pertaining to the connection with your soulmate. So that's the full reading that we're going to be doing today. Thank you so much for being here, and let's get into it. So this is the first little energy check that we have to make sure it's your group. We're going to see a dynamic of this connection that Spirit wants you to know about. I'm going to use these as your cards, these as your soulmate's cards, and these cards in the middle will represent the energy between the two of you. If, as I'm describing the energies, it sounds like they are swapped, so this sounds more like your soulmate and this sounds more like you, it's totally fine to swap the energies. You may even find that you resonate with both sides, but if you don't see your energy anywhere here, then it's likely that this is not your group. So without further ado, let's get into it. The cards representing your energy are the Two of Pentacles and Wound. Okay. Cards representing your soulmate's energy are the Four of Pentacles and Balance. All right, you're both coming out as pentacle cards, which that could be a sign of, oh, actually, and both of these are ruled by the sign of Capricorn. So Capricorn energy could be significant to this connection, like maybe you or your soulmate have Capricorn placements, or you could be the same sign, like whatever your sign is. You could have the same sun sign, you could have the same moon sign, you could have the same element, like for example, maybe you both have the sun in an air sign, you both have Venus in a fire sign. There could be something like that that links the two of you together. I do think we're going to see that there could be something about your careers that links you. You could have the same profession or be in the same field. And that's either how you meet or that's going to be something that brings you close together because you discover you have a lot in common. You have similar ambitions and goals. I'm also thinking of the physical and material world from this earth element. I think we're going to see that you and your soulmate are both quite successful and quite wealthy. You'll probably accumulate a lot of wealth together. And I also think that your physical relationship is going to be great. I think you're going to get to spend a lot of quality time together, a lot of time in person. And what else? Let's get into your energy, because the Two of Pentacles, one thing that it can indicate being busy, having a lot on your plate, juggling a lot of things. And so one way that this could be interpreted is that when you meet your soulmate, you could be stuck in a pattern, I'm hearing, where you are keeping busy to avoid something. Maybe there's a wound that you're avoiding by keeping busy. By the word workaholic is coming to my mind. I don't know if that's a great word for this energy, but there could be issues with tying your value to your productivity or your material achievements or how hard you work. For some of you, it could even be that you are using work or using being busy to avoid the connection with your soulmate because it's cracking you open and that might make you uncomfortable, or you feel really vulnerable around them and that makes you uncomfortable, or you're scared that you're catching feelings and that makes you uncomfortable. So you might use this being busy. You may even, if you have feelings of insecurity surrounding your income or finances, how successful you are in your career, your status, how hardworking you are, anything like that, there may be a dynamic where you consciously or unconsciously project those insecurities onto your soulmate. So if you, for example, had an insecurity that you're not working hard enough, you might project that onto your soulmate and say, like, they must think I'm not doing enough, or they must think I'm not motivated enough, they must think I should be more successful. And that's not actually coming from them, it's coming from your own wound. But they are actually here to help heal that wound. But the wound wants to keep controlling you, so it tells you to push them away. For them, they are not changing their mind about you. There's really nothing you could do to push them away. I do think in many ways your soulmate is someone who you will find very aspirational, especially in like the material sense, maybe their worldly accomplishments, there we go, the worldly accomplishments, the success that they've reached, their profession. I think you look up to them a lot. They may be older than you, or they're just a bit more advanced in their journey. because they started before you. There's pedestals on their card too. So there may be a dynamic where you put them on a pedestal and feel out of their league. Like there's something about this connection that triggers some insecurities that you have, and you need to understand that those are yours. Like it's not their energy. The ways that you might see yourself, it's not how they see you. They don't see the things that you are insecure about in that way. And so they're like a mirror for you through which you will heal and learn to see yourself more accurately. That's how it's coming through. Okay, let's look at the energy between the two of you. We have the third chakra. Yeah, so from here comes feelings of confidence, feelings of self-worth. I often feel with this chakra deserving of taking up space. When your solar plexus or third chakra is healthy, you believe that you deserve to take up space. You believe that there's a space for you. You believe that you belong, that your community, that your field of work is better with you there. And that's what this relationship is going to teach you. The energy of the solar plexus chakra helps us to realize who we are and who we want to be so we can set a course toward our goals. Yeah, I keep hearing the word aspiration. I think your soulmate is someone who is very aspirational to you. And honestly, this does feel like a difficult dynamic, but again, it's not because of any incompatibility between the two of you. It's just that they're here to be a catalyst for some pretty big healing. I'm hearing for some pretty heavy lifting. But you're going to be very grateful that you did it. Some of you might struggle once you meet them with accepting that they are your soulmate because you feel like, oh, I just think they're my soulmate because I wish they were. I just think they're my soulmate because I look up to them so much and I want them to be my soulmate. And you might be stuck in that dynamic for a while. And Spirit's trying to tell you like, no, that's because they are. You feel that way because they are. And your guides are telling you, no, you feel that way because yes, they are your soulmate. And they will probably confirm this to you over and over and over and over until you believe it. So your soulmate's not changing their mind about you, and your spiritual team is also, they're not changing their message because it's true. We have halfway point, meet in the middle. This is making me think of that song, why don't you just meet me in the middle? I'm losing my mind just a little. Something about ETs could be significant, aliens, because this just reminds me of a crop circle. And also there's a shooting star in the background. There could also be something about a very big city, a metropolis, if you will. Maybe you meet this person in a very big city, New York City, Tokyo. That's just coming to mind because I live there. You know, those big sprawling cities with skyscrapers. Meet in the middle, compromise, common ground, and reconciliation. You are so similar to this person. You're cut from the same cloth. A lot of this journey is just accepting that. Like you are the very things that you so admire in this person. And that's not your guides like flattering you, or that's not the reader just saying what you want to hear. Like it's true. You are quite literally cut from the same cloth, and you are quite literally equals, and you are counterparts. And yes, it is this person. And they probably struggle in the same way as you do. Any feelings of not being good enough, any feelings of not belonging, they struggle in that same way. The one little difference might be that they've had a bit more time than you to figure it out, whether that's because they're older or because they started on their journey before you. And maybe maybe you're in an energy of the insecurities are holding you back, and they're in an energy of I'm doing it anyway, but I still feel insecure a lot of the time. So on the inside, you're really, really not that different. You are quite the same. Yeah. There's yin and yang feelings going on. Like, we have this person's in a white dress, this person's in a black dress. There's also something, oh my gosh, I just noticed 2, 3, 4. This is number 2, this is a 3, this is a 4. The letters W and B could be significant as well. And M, meet in the middle. Maybe BMW is significant somehow. But yeah, so this is a challenging one, but it's going to be so rewarding and it's going to be so fulfilling. So let's get into your firsts. I'm going to use 2 different tarot decks for this. Yeah, I'm using 2 different decks so that we might get some repeating cards between the 2 decks. So starting with your first meeting, we have the 4 of Cups. Then we have the 6 of Cups for your first date. For your first kiss, we have the Moon. The way that card came out was weird. It almost like slipped out in slow motion and it felt like an accident. And for your first time saying I love you to each other, we have the 8 of Pentacles. So we're going to do 1 card each again for each of these again with another deck. So another card for your first meeting. And we have the Star. Every single group has gotten a star card in their reading. For your first date, we have the 6 of Pentacles. For your first kiss, we have the 5 of Swords. And for your first time saying I love you to each other, we have the Moon again. Okay, so the Moon is appearing for both of these, which makes me think that it's probably going to happen at the same time or on the same day. So the day you have your first kiss is also the day that you say I love you to each other for the first time. Something else that was coming through, not from the cards, just something that came up intuitively, is that they are going to be the one to say they love you first, but they're going to do it in a kind of indirect way where either it slips out, like they haven't officially told you yet, but it somehow slips out, or they're nervous to say it directly, so they kind of find a roundabout way to say it. And I'm trying to think of an example of this, but it would be like, okay, rather than this romantic thing of like, I love you, if you're on the phone and they're like, okay, have a good night, I love you, bye. And then you're like, wait, what just happened? It feels like that kind of thing. It's more indirect, or it just slips out, or they could be talking about, let's say someone was rude to you and then they stand up for you and they're like, yeah, I'm not just gonna like let someone be rude to the person I love, you know what I mean? And then it's like, wait, what did you just say? Like, it feels like something like that. It's not a direct I love you, but that word somehow comes out, and then there's this realization. I would even say that maybe this comes first. I think that they're gonna say they love you first, and then we kiss, and then we get physical. And now I'm thinking of that song, Let's Get Physical. I'm gonna write that. And Dua Lipa also has a song that has the same lyrics. And that's the second time I'm mentioning Dua Lipa now. I don't know why she's here. Is Dua Lipa your soulmate? I don't know. I'm just kidding. But anyway, okay, where do we start? Let's just go in order. Let's just start at the beginning. For your first meeting, we have the Four of Cups, which this tells me that probably your relationship is not going to be love at first sight. I definitely think when you first meet them, you're going to think they're super cool because we have the star here and this person is looking up. I definitely think you're going to look up to this person, you're going to admire them. It's going to be like at first sight, but I think the romantic feelings might come later, and the realization that they are your soulmate is going to come later. And for some of you, I'm getting kind of frustrated. Not like frustrated with you, but just like, man, I wish you can really accept that it is this person. Because something that just came to me is that the fact that you didn't realize right away, you might use that against yourself later. Like, if they were really your soulmate, you would have known right away. You would have had love at first sight. And no, it doesn't always work that way. That's kind of an overly romanticized, right? When they're your soulmate, you'll just know. You'll just have that deep knowing right away. And it does work like that sometimes, but other times the realization slowly grows on you, or it just suddenly dawns on you later. And that doesn't make it any less powerful, and that doesn't make it any less valid. I think that they definitely make a really good first impression on you, but for some reason you're not really looking at them in that way when you first meet them. The sparks haven't really started yet. Maybe it's not even on the table at first. Maybe you're with someone else when you first met them, or they're with someone else when you first meet. You're just, for some reason, your brain isn't really going there until one day things change, and it does. I also feel like there's gonna be some moment of you looking back and retroactively noticing signs and synchronicities. So, I don't know, looking back, you're like, why didn't I notice these signs before? The signs were there since we first met. You might even notice things since before you met that seemed to be trying to communicate something to you about this connection, but you only realized later. With the star, you could resonate with, we were talking something about ETs could be significant. You could resonate with having had past lifetimes or even parallel lifetimes with this person somewhere other than Earth, or you may resonate with them being your star family. Four of Cups and the star. In your first meeting, you are probably at a place that you have gone many times, a place that you frequent, and there's something about them bringing enjoyment or excitement or fun to an otherwise boring situation. I think you meet them when you're just going about your daily life. You could be like running errands, you could be working, you're going to the places that you always go to. You're thinking it's just another Tuesday, and then this is the day that you meet someone who's going to change your life forever. It feels very casual, and then it's only looking back that you're like, oh my gosh, that was destiny. How did I not see that? I think there's a mutual they're going to be very attracted to you even when they first see you. They're feeling the sparks right away. You might start to feel them a bit later. That's the vibe that I'm getting. When it comes to your first date, we have the Six of Cups and the Six of Pentacles. There's two sixes. There's something about you doing an activity together with this Six of Pentacles. Take this if it resonates. You could be splitting the bill, or like if they treat you this time, you're going to treat them next time, because Six of Pentacles has that very fair exchange. You could be, or maybe it's something like, oh, if you're gonna pick me up, then I'll treat you. Like, there's a feeling of really wanting to make sure that acts of kindness are repaid, wanting to make sure that everything is fair. Maybe it's something like, you decided the date place this time, so I'll choose it next time. And speaking of that, I definitely think that before the first date is even over, you're already talking about the next one. So you've already established that you want to see each other regularly. We were kind of talking about this in the last part of the reading, you having similar careers or working in a similar field. I definitely think that's something that's going to bring you close together, and probably what's going to lead to you, because it's not really, I'm not getting a super romantic dynamic first, but maybe you bond over your shared career and your unique experiences. I feel like I was talking about this in a reading recently where, you know, there's certain things, like you could talk to a friend about your job and they can empathize with you or they can give you advice, but they won't get it quite the same as someone who's literally in that field and like has the same experiences as you all the time. So I do think something about sharing a profession or having similar experiences in your career is really going to help you bond. And I think that's going to be the main thing through which you get to know each other, that you then reach that place that you start going on dates. But like by that time, you've already established that, you know, we're a consistent part of each other's lives. We're going to see each other again, and we're going to see each other regularly. So even on your first date, there's not that nervous feeling of like, oh, I hope they like me. I hope I get a second date. It's kind of like, maybe you're friends first and then you're like, let's start going on a few dates and like see what happens, you know? Whether that's explicitly voiced or not, there's kind of this mutual understanding of like, okay, our dynamic is shifting in this direction now. And you're already talking about the next time. And definitely you don't have to worry about like, oh, I hope they don't ghost me after this date. Like by this point, by the time you're going on your first date, I think you already trust each other and you've already established a really solid foundation that you know you're going to be a consistent part of each other's lives. And like, yeah, you can just rely on each other in that way. Anyway, what was I talking about? You're doing some activity together and it feels like something hands-on. With this Six of Pentacles, you know, it's not something passive like just sitting and watching a movie. It's like you're, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm thinking of the cheesiest activities. These are just examples, but it's like if you went to paint mugs together or like you went to play mini golf together or something like that. You're doing something hands-on together. I don't know, what are you doing? Why can I only think of silly activities like that? No offense if you do those things. I don't know, maybe you're like making accessories or you're whatever, just fill in something. You're doing a hands-on activity together. Maybe you're going to like play a sport or something. I don't know. But that's the vibe that I'm getting. And I think it's something that you both already like and something that you're both really familiar with. As someone who lives in Japan, now karaoke is coming to my mind. Like, oh, you like karaoke, I like it. We both already go all the time. Like, let's go together. And so, you know, you're like passing each other the microphone and putting your songs in. It feels like an activity where you're constantly engaged with each other rather than just passively observing something together. I hope that that makes sense. So it's like you're constantly talking, you're conversing, and then you're doing your thing, you're bonding over this shared activity, and it's already something that you're familiar with and something that you do a lot. Maybe you really like to cook and you find out that they really like to cook, so they come over and you cook a meal together. You know, it's something like that. So it flows really well because you're working on this thing together, you're helping each other, you're both in the flow, and then like you're talking about what you're doing, and then you're also talking about other stuff, and it goes really well, and you vibe really, really well together. And you know, I feel like the first date, it almost feels kind of like a test, because it's like, okay, we've hung out many times in a platonic setting, or we've hung out many times in a professional setting, and now we're gonna see what it's like to hang out in a kind of romantic way. And it's just gonna feel like such a smooth transition. I think both of you in your head, as the date is going on, you're gonna be like, this is going so well. This is going really well. This isn't awkward at all. This is so comfortable, and already making plans for the next time. So yes, it's very sweet. And then, as I said, I feel like these are happening on the same day. Let me just drink some tea. Which, interestingly, I felt called to make ginger tea, which ginger is kind of yellow, right? I feel like that could be referencing the solar plexus. Ginger could be significant for some of you. So yeah, let's get into it. There's so much. We got 2 of Pentacles, 4 of Pentacles, 6 of Pentacles, 8 of Pentacles. It feels like there's a lot about your jobs or like your career paths that is just coming through a lot. It could very well be that, yeah, I think I already said this, but pursuing your career path could lead to you meeting them and getting closer with them. I also, this is not from the cards, it's just a feeling that I got. When this happens, take it if it resonates. You or them might be drunk or under the influence of something. I guess you could say that comes from the moon, because it's like Piscean energy. Obviously, if you don't do any substances like that, then ignore that message. That's not for you. But it could be that, you know, being under the influence or being a little bit more uninhibited, that leads to these words coming out. Or yeah, we're just kind of overcome with emotion. There's also a feeling of not really remembering it, which that could be like, if you're drunk, it's hard to remember things. But also, when you're overcome with emotion and you're really excited, it's hard to remember things. Like, I remember the first time I saw my favorite band in a concert, I was so excited, and the next day, okay, maybe that the phone going off is confirmation that this is because of excitement, because I was gonna say the next day I felt like, oh my gosh, I don't remember like half of the concert, because I was just so like, oh my God, and my head went blank. Or, you know, when you're going to do a performance and you're really, really nervous leading up to it, and then you just like get up to give your presentation or give your performance and your head just goes blank and you don't remember it. There's that kind of feeling when you have your first kiss, maybe on your end or on your soulmate's end, or both. And it's kind of sweet because, you know, hanging out, bonding together, you're totally comfortable, but this starting to connect physically, it's like a new territory for you. And so you might have a lot of butterflies, or feel like you're spacing out, or feel like your head is spinning. You might kind of stumble on your words. It's like, oh my gosh. Now I'm thinking of Nonsense by Sabrina Carpenter. It got me thinking nonsense. I don't even really know that song well, but I feel like there's some part where she's talking about how she can't talk and she sounds like blah, blah, blah. And that, you know, it might be that kind of vibe. I feel kind of like awkward and shy and laughing. For example, maybe you have your first kiss and then it's like, oh, you're blushing so much, like you are bright red. Am I? Or like, oh my gosh, your heart is beating so fast, I can literally hear it. You know, when your body just betrays you like that and gives away how nervous you are. And it's like, I was trying to play it cool. And now you know that I was nervous. Or like, I messed up my words. And it just, I'm smiling right now because it's very cute, and it's just such a, yeah, they're gonna say they love you first and they're kind of nervous about it, or they let it slip out. And I think this is gonna be a really, I feel like your heartstrings are really gonna be tugged on in this experience, because I think you're so used to seeing this person super composed, commanding the room, like they always seem so confident, they always seem like they know exactly what to say. And then because of your influence on them, suddenly they're all shy and babbling and their heart is racing. You did that to them. You broke their composure. Nobody else sees them like that, but you broke their composure. That was you. Yes. And probably once it slips out the first time, it's going to become a lot easier to say. And I have a feeling that they're just going to keep saying it over and over again. Which again, if you resonate with that message, it could be because like they're kind of tipsy and they're just saying it over and over again. Or they're just so excited and it's like, why do you keep saying it? Like, I don't know, I just like saying it. I love you. I'm smiling from ear to ear. It's just a very sweet energy. And, you know, I think it's quite sweet to see them change character like that, because I feel like they're usually, like I said, really put together and they know how to get the job done and they know how to be serious. And now they're just like this little like, I love you. Yeah, it's really, really sweet. And then you're also having your first kiss here. The Five of Swords is really the card that made me think it's gonna be hard to remember because of such high levels of excitement. I'm not really picking up the conflict vibe of this card at all. Like, I just don't. That's not even crossing my mind. I do kind of want to pull, oh, there's a card on the floor. I was going to say I want to pull a clarifier. What? The card that was on the floor is also the Five of Swords. Okay, now this is making me think like you're not expecting it, or somehow this is like the opposite of what you thought. What does that mean? It's the opposite of what you thought. When you were seeing them, you were expecting a negative outcome for some reason, but then it's the best outcome that you could possibly imagine. Let's see, where are you when this happens? I think I'll get one of each again. Six of Pentacles. Okay, there's something you do together a lot. Some shared activity that you do together a lot, or like you have a go-to place for your dates. Maybe you thought, there's something like you thought it was going to be a negative outcome. You thought that they weren't going to show up. You thought that you weren't going to get to see them. Are they surprising you in some way? Maybe I'm not going to get any more information because it's a surprise. This is like, it's like that energy when your heart sinks because you thought that they forgot your birthday, but then they were actually planning a big surprise with all your favorite things. It's like totally the opposite of what you thought, and it's so much better than you could imagine. Yeah, like this could be a celebration or your birthday or something. And then we have justice. Yeah, like it's like I wouldn't do that to you. I wouldn't forget. I wouldn't not show up. I wouldn't ghost you. You're thinking they did something like that, but they're actually surprising you with something even better. Like I wouldn't do that to you. I don't play with people I love like that. It's like it just kind of comes out like that. I'm so curious what exactly this event is, but like they're surprising you with something. You're sad because you thought they forgot about you, or you thought they like were gonna cancel on you. And then nope, actually you love each other and now you're kissing. It's like totally does a 180. Okay, we're gonna have to get into the extended now, because we're going to see more about your compatibility, physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. We are going to see your first intimate encounter, your first spicy time with your soulmate and what that is like. We are going to look at significant time frames for the connection, and also signs to look out for, whether that's signs from your soulmate's higher self or signs from your guides pertaining to this connection. So if that sounds good to you and you'd like to join me in the extended, that's going to be linked down below in the description as well as in the pinned comment. However, if you're going to leave the reading here, I want to say thank you so much for letting me do this reading for you. I hope you have a wonderful day or night whenever you're watching, and I wish you all the best. Please take good care of yourself, stay healthy. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you feel like doing that. If you enjoy my content and you'd like to find me elsewhere, I'm going to have a link down below my tarot reading Instagram, my personal Instagram, my Patreon, where we now have over 100 exclusive timeless readings just like the ones here on my channel. And we also have 2 new ones every month, and you can choose a topic for those. So that will be linked down below. And my music channel, which includes the intro song of this video. That is an original song. I'll also have my latest release linked down below. Thank you guys so much for supporting me, my channel, and anything I do. I really appreciate having you here, and I'm sending so much love to you, your higher self, your soulmate, their higher self, and your spirit guides, your spiritual team, and all of your loved ones, both here on earth and in the other realms. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye!